Welcome back. My name is Chris Richter, and if it's your first time here, please like and subscribe because there's heaps more videos coming that will hopefully help you with Moodle and with online education content development. Now, we're going to look at course completion, but because this is part of a bit of a series, make sure you go back and watch all of the video on how to set up Gradebook for Moodle 4.0, because we're going to continue on with course completion in relation to those activities, assignments, and a quiz, and how that fits into course completion. So the question is, what is course completion? Course completion is a simple way for you to be able to notify the teacher and the student when they've actually completed their course. And to do that, we need to set up a list of requirements that are called course completion requirements for each activity. And then we need to go to the course completion page and set up what the criteria is for those activities that constitutes a course completion. So very first step before we go any further is to go into settings for our course, scroll down to completion tracking, and we need to turn that on if it's not already on. So we're just going to say yes, course completion tracking is on. Now we also have the option of show activity completion conditions, which you can say yes or no to, and that will show the completion conditions on the page so students know what it is they actually have to do to complete. You may or may not want that, and I'll show you why when we get to having a look at those. But let's click Save and Display. So far it doesn't look like it did anything, but what it did do is added a new menu item called Course Completion. And if we have a quick look at that, you'll see that this is all the criteria we can decide is a result of course completion. The simplest one to look at is the activity completion, where you can see activities like Assignment 1, Quiz 1, Assignment 2, and they have appeared in there because they are activities that you can decide whether they actually are a completion activity or not. But before we do that, let's jump back to our course. Go to Assignment 1, select Edit Settings, and in Assignment 1, if you scroll down, you will have noticed an activity completion button in there. Now at the moment that's locked because I already had some students complete some things, so I'm going to unlock that. So all I had to do was click on that button to unlock course activity completion options, and now we have completion tracking available. The options we have for that are to show whether a student has completed this activity. We need to choose the activity is complete when conditions are met. So we choose that option in the drop down. Then we decide what those actual conditions are. So we can have a student can view, a student must receive a grade, or the student must receive a passing grade. Logic for me most of the time is a student must receive a grade and they must receive a passing grade. A student must submit this activity to complete is a bit of an optional one. Now the reason I'm going to change that to not submit is because a student may have manually submitted their information in another way, and I want to grade that or mark that off without the student submitting it, but I still want it to show as a course or an activity completion. So I remove that tick, and that gives us a completion for a student based on they received a grade and they received the passing grade to complete. So let's save those changes and display, which does nothing else that we can see anyway. So we don't need to go any further with that. Let's have a look at a quiz. Same thing with the quiz. We go into the quiz settings. We scroll down to activity completion. I'm just going to unlock them. There we go, they're unlocked now. Go to completion tracking. Show activity is complete when conditions are met is what we need to choose. And then we decide, so this is a quiz. So they must receive a grade to complete it, and they must receive a passing grade to complete, which is exactly what we want. And then I'll save and return to course because we're going to set the other assignment as well so that we have all of them set. Edit settings for this one. Go down to activity completion. I'll unlock them now just to explain what it means by unlock. There's a background task that happens that quickly runs through and checks if a student has completed anything. And if they have, it marks it off as complete. So generally you wouldn't do this on a course that already has students working in it, but because this is a demonstration, I can do this. I'm unlocking it. It will then get recalculated based on the student's grades or their results and activity, and it will all be fine afterwards. So that's all that unlock part is. So go down to completion tracking again, show as complete when conditions are met. The conditions are they must receive a grade and they must receive a pass grade. I'll remove the submit because I may manually grade that separately. Save and return to course. And that's it. I now have all of the activities set with their completion. Now, when I say that's it for the activities. I can also go in and choose something like, if there is a resource, and I'll just add a quick resource here. Just call it example page and put in some content. In pages, you can also have activity completion, show activity is complete when conditions are met, and for a page, it is just the student must view to complete. So I will save and return to course. What you will see now is beside the page, the completion appears as a little button there saying view. So the requirement for a student to complete this page is to view the page, and that can be used in course completion as well. So for an assignment, it is they receive a grade, they receive a passing grade. Now remember I mentioned before there was that option, do you want to show a student what the completion requirements are? Well, this is what they look like. If I go back to settings, go down to completion tracking and change show activity completion conditions to no, save and display again, you can see now that those course completions don't appear in the side panel on this main page. Now what does happen though, just for your information, when a student goes into the page, it does show them here. They receive a grade or passing grade. It's only removing the view from this page where it shows all of the topics and all of the pages. So it just unclutters this page. But when they go into the activity, it will still show them what the requirements are. That one you can't remove. That's the first step. The final step we need to do is now decide what an actual course completion is. So we go to more, we go course completion, and here's all our course completion options. And we need to show what decides an activity or a course is actually complete. So if I choose page, assignment, quiz, and assignment 2, I can also choose things like completing other activities, other courses. You can also have a certain date. So if a course is completed by a certain date, plus all these other options here, which you can have a look through yourself and see what they are. The only big one here is the course grade. You can just use the total course grade. And if they pass that grade, then they've completed the course. So that's another option for you, but I'm just going to choose these ones. Now the options are complete all conditions or any of these conditions. Logically, most times it'll be all conditions need to be met. So I just click Save Changes. Now at this stage, we haven't done anything else, but if I go to the report and I go to Course Completion Report and have a look, you'll now see it has in there the example page has to be viewed, assignment 1, quiz 1, assignment 2, and whether they've course completed. And at this stage, no students have course completed, and the reason for that is that it now has to do a background task which calculates that out, which will happen in about 5 minutes. But also, none of my students have actually ticked off the view that page yet because I only just added that page. So I'm just going to jump into one of the students, get them to view that page, which will mark that off as completion as well. So let's do that. Here's one of our students. There's the example page. So a student goes to that page. They've now viewed it. It says done. So that will mark that off as another item. Let's go back to our teacher again. We'll refresh the page and you can see there that the student has actually viewed that page. So they've completed that particular item. The other tasks haven't run yet, so I'm going to let them run and I'll be back and I'll show you exactly what it looks like in just a second. Just going to add one more part to our course completion, and that was the total grade. So if we quickly check grades and go to here, and you'll see that our course total is 112, but that's our course total if they receive 100%. If they just receive a pass for everything, so that would be for the quiz is 10. For this assignment, the pass grade for assignment was 80%. Sorry, 80 as a number. So we've got 80 plus 10 is 90 plus competent, which is going to be 2. So 92 is our actual pass grade if they pass everything as an actual pass. So let's go to our course completion settings. We're just going to go down to course grade and put in there our course grade, which was 92 as our pass grade. So that's a required grade. Anything above that is fine. If we now go to our reports and go to course completion, when the course completion task has been run, it will then fix up this based on the 92 as a required grade. You can see there 92 is now the required grade as well. So this student has completed all of those requirements, which means if I now refresh my course completion report, you will see now that we have student number 1 has completed everything, including the 92, which is a required minimum completion grade. And that's triggered a course completion. So now we know that our student number 1 has completed everything which makes it really easy as a teacher to go in and look at the overall report, course completion report. It will show you all of the statuses for all of the activities, and in this case, the added grade requirement as well, and if they're completed. So that's a fantastic way to get all your completion done. And that's an overview of course completion. Make sure you like, subscribe, plenty more videos to come. Talk to you again very soon.